Hi guys, it's me Ava. Welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be showing you how to analyze a fourplex. It's pretty straightforward. I use the BiggerPockets calculator in this video. That's the calculator I prefer because it can show you, your estimate returns in the next 30 years. So I really recommend getting the BiggerPockets calculator. And without further ado, let's get started. All right, so this is just a deal off the MLS that I'm just going to be using for this example. Now, I could already tell it was a little bit overpriced, but I still had some hope. The nice thing about the MLS when you're doing deals is it gives you a lot of the information on the bottom. So taxes, which I'm showing you right there because taxes are actually really high for this property, making me lose hope for this deal. But I also looked at amenities and it had two coin operated washers, which is super good because that's some extra cash flow right there. So that was actually a bonus that was included. And I also looked at the rents. Now, a lot of times when rents are included, that's because there are leases on the property, and those are the rents. But sometimes not. Sometimes they're just not there. But now go to BiggerPockets, click the rental property calculator, and start a new report. I just copied and pasted the address onto there, and which is super nice. Sometimes it recognizes the deal, and it can import some data from the MLS. So the taxes were put in there for me and a couple other things. Then I just got 2% of the purchase price, so I could use that as closing costs. And then I wasn't necessarily going to rehab this property. It didn't look like it needed much rehab. From what I saw, you're going to see me looking at some of the pictures. It looked like a genuinely nice property. But sometimes you never know what's going on in the basement or how the roof is. So you kind of got to plan for those things. So I forget, since it looked pretty nice, I think I put $5K in there just in case there was something that I had to fix with the foundation. But from the looks of it, it looks like a pretty good foundation and just a clean property. But you never really know until you get that inspection. So in your letter of intent, you should always have a clause for an inspection, especially if you're new to real estate investing. But yeah, as you can see, it is a decently nice property, and it's also brick, which I personally love brick properties. They're just sturdy and reliable. So yeah, I just put in $5,000 for repair costs. Now for loan details, it really depends. I analyze this deal as if I was doing a banking loan, traditional banking loan. So I did 4.25% for interest over 30 years. Now, if I were to go to the bank, most likely that is what those are the terms I'm going to get. All right, so basically moving on to rent, I just took the rents on the MLS because most likely that's what's on the current leases with the tenants, and it all added up to $3,250. Now, I saw that these were all 2 beds and 1 bath, so on the BiggerPockets rent estimator, I wanted to see what I could eventually get, and that was $875, and then $875 times 4 is $3,500. So I like to keep that in the back of my head, so when I do finish the analysis, I can always plug in those numbers and see, what the return would be if I were to raise rents after the leases were over, and so on. Moving on to taxes. So it did import some data, but I was a little confused because the taxes that were imported onto, the calculator were $400 higher than the taxes that were projected onto the MLS. Now, I honestly did not know what to trust. Now that I'm watching back this video, I probably should have trusted BiggerPockets because obviously, the MLS is going to want to make me feel better and make taxes seem lower than they actually are. So I regret not going with BiggerPockets, but this is just a screen recording that I did previously. And then for insurance, I usually stay in the range of $100 a month. For repairs and maintenance, I always do 10%. And capital expenditures, I also do 10%. Vacancy, 5%. Even though none of the units are vacant yet, there's always a possibility. Management fees, my management is personally 8%, but with all the fees, I like to just put 10%. And then water and sewer. My realtor actually taught me this. So he goes in the rule with any 2-bedroom, 1 bath is usually going to be around $35 to $45 a month for water and sewer. And then I'll pop it up on the side of the screen. But 3-bed, actually I'll put it in the description. And 3 beds, 1 bath, you're going to see around like $45 to $55 a month. Look in the description. That might help you with just water and sewer costs. And then once I see that all my information is filled out and it looks all good, I can essentially finish my analysis and then see the returns on this puppy. Now, I had to play around with the income a little bit, which you'll see in a second. Basically, on the Bigger Pockets calculator, you can separate the rent. I just said for laundry, I was just going to get $50 a month. I've honestly never really had experience with coin-operated machines, so I honestly don't know. But yeah, the return, 1.04. That's definitely not what me and Ben are really looking for. But I remembered that I could potentially raise the rents to $3,500. So I plugged those numbers in just to see what the return could potentially be. And I think it ended up being about like 3%. Now, you can play around with the numbers, see what it's like if you were to do seller financing or maybe use private money. You can kind of just play around with it. Now, this deal was like right here was a little bit better, but again, a 3% return, your money could be spent more wisely. So I definitely would not recommend going for this. If you are a newbie and you kind of want to just get a base hit deal, I recommend aiming for maybe like 6% with management included, just so you can get that base hit deal and get in the game.